Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell. I would appreciate it majorly. And just very quickly, this story's been reported on a ton about the USS Roosevelt and the captain of that ship. Actually, Crozier is his last name, who was removed from command of the ship and basically looked as though he was going to be outright fired, but that seems to be in a holding pattern. And it was all over a letter that was written by him, that I think was attached to an email. It was like a 5-page memo about the conditions of the ship, and he was fearful for the sailors, of the 4,000 sailors on the ship, because there was an outbreak of coronavirus on the ship. I don't want to redo the whole story. I mean, what's new today is that one of the sailors this morning was who tested positive for coronavirus was found unresponsive in his room. He was in isolation, as a result of testing positive for it, and was found unresponsive and has been taken to the ICU. Obviously, if somebody's he's positive for coronavirus and is sick with the virus, and then was found this morning completely unresponsive, that sounds fairly dire, and was taken to the ICU. I mean, hopefully he's going to be okay. And we just don't know any more than that. NBC is the outlet that actually broke that news. But there's additional. I mean, there's additional new. It's been changing. The number of people that it was reported that tested positive. Initially, it was 100, and then it kind of grew to 150. But the numbers have continued to go up. I know actually in this Business Insider piece, it's saying just as of yesterday, it was 286 cases, which had grown from the 150, but overnight, it's now 416 people have tested positive for the coronavirus. It says that 97% of the 4,000 sailors on the vessel have been tested. So I don't know if that 460 can continue to grow as we learn more, or if that's basically we're getting close to the total number of sailors that have tested positive. This is part of the reason that Trump, in my opinion, has backtracked on this. And initially the reports were, that the acting secretary of the Navy, who's basically resigned over this, that was basically removing this soldier from his command because that's what Trump wanted. That's what the initial reports were, and I think a lot of people believe that. Initially Trump had said that, in a press conference, what the commander Crozier had written was terrible. And I'll read what NBC has reported on this one soldier that's been taken to the ICU in a second. But I think, common sense is that obviously this commander didn't go straight to writing this memo. He obviously had gone through had spoken to somebody. I mean, because Trump said, why don't you just pick up the phone and make a call? Obviously he did those things, and tried to go through the normal channels of communication to get help, and wasn't getting the help that he thought he needed for the situation for his sailors that he's basically trying to protect. He obviously did that first before going to that length, to basically put something in paper and basically jeopardize his own career in order to protect the sailors. I mean, that's the logical conclusion that I come to. But in any event, so now the number of cases has climbed from 286 to 416. That's 10% of the crew. I mean, that's a big number. And you can obviously see the commander's concern. And had he not written that letter, I mean, that's with him writing the letter. So without him writing the letter, that number, and we don't even know if that's the top number, that number could be double that. It could be worse, and so it seems as though he was completely justified in doing what he was doing, and Trump is just totally throwing his own acting Secretary of Navy, who, initial reports was he was acting on his wishes, under the bus, because he sees the dynamics changing and not in his favor in a big way. So this is what NBC is reporting on the one sailor that was taken to the ICU. But just the fact that he was found unresponsive is scary for sure. A sailor assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt has been transferred to ICU after being found unresponsive in the room in Guam. Quote, a U.S. Navy sailor assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt, CVN 71, was admitted to the intensive care unit of the U.S. Naval Hospital, Guam, April 9th. The sailor tested positive for COVID-19 on March 30th. That's last Monday. And at the time of hospitalization was in a 14-day isolation period on Naval Base Guam. A statement from the Navy said, so far there have been 416 sailors on the ship who have tested positive for the virus, with 97% having been tested. Captain Brett Crozier was relieved of command of the ship after sounding the alarm about an outbreak on the ship. So, hopefully he's going to be okay, and it's pretty much the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I will see you in the next video. Later, man.